Okay. We're letting just a couple of folks in and then we'll get going. Okay. So welcome everybody. My name's Abraham Shepard. I'm with the consultant team on the project, City Fabric, and just want to welcome you to the virtual town hall with more to come, including several in-person opportunities. Chrissy, could you show the second slide? So just want to start off with a few general logistical items. We'll begin with a presentation followed by a brief Q&A period. Note that both of those will be recorded. And following that main portion of the meeting, you'll be joining different rooms to discuss topics related to the charter reform process. Those rooms will not be recorded. If you have a general question about the charter reform process, feel free to ask it through the Q&A function, which shows up on your bottom toolbar. You may have to hit the more icon if you don't see it at the bottom. It will come up with that menu. Also note that we have audio and video disabled for participants during the presentation and the Q&A, while in the group activities, audio and video will be enabled for participants. So to really kick things off, I'd like to introduce you to Justin Ramirez from the City of LA team, who will give some opening remarks.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Abe. Thank you, team, so very much. And good evening or good late afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our first virtual event. My name is Justin Ramirez. I am the Executive Director of the Charter Reform Commission. We are so very excited to try this interactive way to talk about the charter reform process for LA and to hear from you about your thoughts on the ongoing work to reform our charter. Tonight we have four commissioners joining us, Commissioners Andrea Mack, Melinda Murray, Cristina Sanchez, and Carla Fuentes. During the next about 2 hours, you'll hear from commissioners and staff about the commission process, participate in a Q&A, and then go into breakout rooms on various charter topics. As this is our first time doing this type of event, please give us grace and patience as we work through some of the issues on this process. But in the end, we are really excited about this getting started. We've had about 11 commission meetings so far, and we're still just getting going, delving into the very important topics that have been charged to this commission to discuss and to bring to the city council and the voters. So we're really excited about this, really excited to tell you more about what we've been up to during these meetings and what we're looking forward to doing in the future. So thank you for joining tonight. I think it is my turn to pass over the baton for our presentation. We have a presentation to fill you in a little bit more about what we've been up to and explain the work that we're doing a little more in detail. Next up is our Deputy Director for the Commission, Max Podemsky. Max?
Hi, everyone. My name is Max Podemsky. I'm the Deputy Director of the LA City Charter Reform Commission, and I'm going to give you an overview of some of our work up to this point. So what is the charter? The charter is really the foundational legal document of the city. Some refer to it as the city's constitution, and it really lays out both the structure of the city government and how certain processes work within the city. So it defines the roles of offices like the mayor, the chief administrative officer, the city council, and also of departments. So the planning department, Board of Public Works, and other agencies of the city. It sets the powers of each government body, and sets rules for how city officials and employees operate. And really, the charter is sort of a relatively broad outline of guidelines. And there's other details that are in what's called the municipal code. And those are often things set by ordinance by the city council. But while the municipal code can be changed by uh, an ordinance of the city council, the charter has to be changed by voters. And that's really what this commission is set up to do, is identify a set of reforms that will go to the city council and then will ultimately go to voters. So next slide. So why reform now? So, this charter reform process really came out, of a series of scandals that have happened over the last couple of years. The city council set up a ad hoc government reform commission to look at some of these changes. Some of them were enacted, like independent redistricting, and others they decided to um, establish a commission so these issues could sort of be fully vetted with the public before they go to the city council and then go on to voters. And our charter, um, was written over 100 years ago and really reflects, the values of the progressive era. It has been changed over time with the last Charter Reform Commission being convened in 1999 and really coming, out of the civil unrest of that period and also secession movements. So this is sort of one of the first big, comprehensive looks at the charter, in the last quarter century. Next slide. Um, so there's a range of issues we're going to be looking at, and we'll go in a little bit more depth. But the charter, some of the things that it impacts are how leaders are selected. It also talks about how leaders are removed. It talks about how money is allocated. So certain departments, for example, like the library or parks, have a specified amount of the budget that goes to them, how accountability is ensured, and how land use decisions are made. So, for example, for the planning department, it lays out the roles of things like the city planning commission, the zoning administrator, and the director of planning. Next slide. So this commission, was set up a few months ago. We'll go over the timeline, but our deadline to get these reforms to the city council is April 2nd of 2026, and then it's going to go to voters in November. So we really have a limited time period. And because of that, we've really decided to focus on some key issue areas. So those are planning and infrastructure, government structure, better government, and personnel and budget. Next slide. So these are some of the main topics that have come up around the topic of planning and infrastructure. So one is a capital improvement program. This is basically a policy that many other cities in California and around the country have implemented. Los Angeles is actually unique in not having a program. And essentially, what this is usually a 5-year plan for capital infrastructure improvements. So everything from, fire stations that need to be built, street repaving, upgrades of parks. The mayor has actually introduced Executive Directive 9 to sort of pilot a capital improvement program. But that's one of the issues that we're looking at and potentially putting that into the charter to sort of create a more cohesive system for, coordinating and also planning and funding public works improvements. Another main topic that has come up is the land use decision-making process. So, many recent scandals have been related to land use. And this topic is really looking at, discretion over land use and how decisions are made and putting in a timeline and sort of looking at the various bodies that have a hand in that process. So everything from the City Planning Commission, area planning commissions, that was actually a reform that came out of that 1999 process, and how the council and mayor interact with those. And this is also, an area where recent policies have sort of, clashed with the charter in some ways. There's been a lot of land use decisions that have been made at the state level that have sort of taken control away from local governments and looking at how we can update our charter to better reflect that. Another is looking at infrastructure and governance. So as I mentioned, the charter lays out the roles of different city departments. Um, and this is looking at, potentially streamlining the operations of some of those departments to better deliver infrastructure. So, one key example of that is we have the Board of Public Works, and they are, made up of different agencies. So, Bureau of Street Services, Bureau of Street Lighting, Bureau of Engineering, and then we have the Department of Transportation. That is a separate entity, but they're both dealing with the public right of way. So how can, changes be made to how those departments operate to more efficiently and economically deliver infrastructure? Another one is government structure. So one of the key topics here is, potentially looking at city council expansion. Los Angeles has 15 council members, each representing about 250,000 people. And there's been, issues that people have brought up that having such a large council sort of disenfranchises certain communities and certain neighborhoods. Um, and so one of the key areas we're looking at is council expansion, and having sort of a broad-based council conversation about that. So how many, districts should the city have, a specific number? Should they be multi-member districts, for example, or should they be single-member districts? Another thing sort of along with that is looking at the balance of authority between the mayor, city council, and other elected officials. So, if you do expand the city council, should their responsibilities change? Should they have less purview over, infrastructure, for example, in their districts, or should the mayor have more authority over that? And another is looking at elections and voting. So, changing ballot access to make it easier for people to run, and then potentially changing the voting system. So, many cities in the country, most notably New York City, have ranked choice voting, where people actually, rank candidates. There's also other systems that have been discussed, such as star voting. So we're also going to have a conversation about those different systems of voting, and maybe Los Angeles should adopt it, and sort of how all these sort of issues interface with each other. Another area that the commission is looking at is better government. So sort of the most notable reform here is removal and discipline of elected officials. There's, over the last decade, there's been a series of vacancies on the council where members have left for various reasons. And this would really look at, streamlining how that's handled and how those seats are filled. And also when there's been, allegations of illegality on an elected official, how that is dealt with. And there's also some other areas that this is going to be looking at. So one is ethics and anti-corruption measures more broadly, and also the role of neighborhood councils. And then the final issue area is personnel and budget. So sort of the key issue here is hiring. Some of you may be aware that, getting a job with the city can be extremely lengthy and complex process. And many of sort of the hiring practices of the city are, somewhat antiquated, such as, making people do tests to get hired. So here we are looking at how to potentially speed up hiring so we can get more people into the workforce. And some other areas we're looking at here are the budgeting process. So right now, LA does a budget every year, potentially making that a multi-year budget, and also creating a system of periodic charter review, which is actually in the ordinance that set up the commission to have, the charter be evaluated every 10 years. But this would be looking at potentially changing what's in that ordinance and putting it in the charter. So those are our four main issue areas, and the commission has actually broken into subcommittees to tackle each of those topics. And these are our commissioners. So we are, the commission is made up of 13 members, 8 of whom were appointed by the mayor and various city council members, and 5 were actually selected from a pool of applicants, selected by the other commissioners. And this is our timeline. So, we're having we've basically broken the commission down to have sort of 2 styles of meetings. So one is what we're calling study sessions, where we invite groups to present to those commissions. We're doing those study sessions across the city, so going to all 15 council districts and also having meetings at City Hall. And we also have deliberative meetings where we discuss those issues. So that those meetings will go till March 2026 on these different topics. We're also having a survey where people can, weigh in on these topics, and that will go to December 2025. We're going to have a series of, public town halls that will not be commission meetings, but will really be opportunities for the public to come in and give feedback. We hope beginning in November, after, having those study sessions and really listening to different opinions, honing in on some actual recommendations that the commission will consider between November and March. And then, as I mentioned, getting those recommendations to City Council before April 2nd. City Council will deliberate on those. And then those, they will decide what will be placed on the ballot, which will go on the November 2026 ballot. And now I'm going to pass it to Abe from City Fabric.
Okay, so how can you get involved and help shape your city? So your voice matters. Several ways to get involved. We've already touched on some of them. Attending public meetings and town halls associated with the charter reform process, and you can find those online and receive updates if you sign up for updates. Host conversations in your community. Check in with your neighborhood council, for example. Take the survey. We have an online survey. And follow up and sign up for updates at the website, which you see here, and also follow us on social media. On the next slide, so we have an online survey that should be launching tomorrow. It's going to be a quick one, available in multiple languages. It's going to be live through December 31st, so we will be casting a wide net, and there's a gift card drawing as a little bit of a bonus. And that will be available by a link on the website, reformlacharter.lacity.gov. So with that, we're ready to go to the Q&A. Again, if you have any questions, general questions, click that Q&A box. And I'm going to turn it over to city staff.
Hello. I'll try to quickly answer a couple house clean ones. This presentation will be posted probably by tomorrow. We'll post it on the website where we post all of our meeting information, past and future. So look forward to getting that. Let's see. I'm just gonna I mentioned to our commissioners that we're gonna do a couple rounds of round robin, letting our commissioners answer some questions. So let's see. Well, I'll jump on this first one. Is there a draft of the charter available to the public? I see Commissioner Sanchez already on camera closest to me, so I'm gonna let her take that.
Can you repeat the question, please,
Is there a
Justin?
draft of the charter available to the public yet?
Not the charter that we're working on right now. As the purpose of these meetings is to get input from the public in order for us to draft something according to the schedule that the team presented. A draft would be available closer to the end of the year or the beginning of the year.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much for that question. Let's see. The next question, why doesn't our city charter, I'll go to Commissioner Mack. Why doesn't our city charter ensure that at least half of the council members, two out of every four seats, for example, are directly accountable to their constituents in a way that guarantees true community representation? Right now, too many decisions are concentrated in the hands of a few, leaving whole neighborhoods unheard. If the charter is supposed to be our city's playbook, why doesn't it explicitly build in stronger protections for proportional grassroots representation?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that question. I think just first off, um, I think with one of our committees, we have government structure, and so one of the things that we're planning on looking at is specifically the topic of city council district expansion and what that number looks like, and kind of I think you're right in terms of the number conversation. Kind of how do we make our residents of LA feel more heard and that their issues and concerns are kind of met and are being dealt with within the city government. And so that is something that we're planning to explore, and hopefully you can bring those insights and kind of those issues to our committee meetings as well.
Awesome. Thank you. This next one, maybe for Commissioner Murray. Thank you for today's presentation. My question has to do with land use. You mentioned the Planning Department and Area Planning Commission and so on, but you did not mention LADBS in your land use departments. Why? You may want to look into the role in enforcement of zoning laws. LADBS is only city department in charge of enforcement of planning decisions, which gives them enormous power. Max, you want to quickly let us know, let everyone know what LADBS stands for? I forgot one of the letters, so I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah, they're LA Department of Building and Safety. So yes, they are one of the agencies, and that is something we will be looking at as part of this.
And Commissioner Murray, this specifically is on planning on infrastructure. Do you have any thoughts and comments?
Yes, thank you for your question. This is one of the topics we're going to be delving into about land use, whether it should be with the Planning Commission, whether the City Council is going to have veto power over any planning decisions. Also, how the Area Planning Commission, which was established during the last charter, fits in. So this is one of the areas we're going to be looking at. Please stay in touch with us. Please make sure that you are participating in our forums. And we have another committee meeting on October 18th. So if you have some ideas or questions, please participate. That is one of the areas that we're going to be delving into, as well as land, as well as dealing with the Department of Public Works and all that stuff. So that is one of the topics that we're going to be doing a deep dive in. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And great plug again for our website. We got a lot of information on there, including our meeting schedule and past meeting minutes and recordings on there as well. So please check this out. Check it out when you get a chance. Commissioner Fuentes, you're next up to bat. Who chooses the commissioners and what is their backgrounds that make them qualified to work on a new city charter? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for this question, Kira. I notice you're in Sherman Oaks. I'm in North Hollywood, so I'm essentially one of your neighbors here in the Valley. Thank you for the question. So the Charter Reform Commission is a civilian body that was created by the mayor and city council in 2024. So 4 commissioners were appointed by the mayor, then 2 by the city council president, and then 2 more by the council president pro tem. Then those 8 selected 5 additional members through a public application process. And then all of those appointments were confirmed by city council. So all that to say, the commissioners come from a wide range of backgrounds, including community organizing, neighborhood councils, law, planning, public policy, and nonprofit leadership. The idea here was to bring diverse civic experience into the process rather than only political insiders, so that we reflect the perspectives of all Angelenos across the city. And I will again plug our website where you can read more about us.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. Well said. And we got bios for I think all of our commissioners already up on the website. Perfect. I'll answer a couple of these background questions. I would like to see appointments of commissioners have term limits. These all of us do have term limits, including my role. The commission kind of has a sunset, which is after March 2026, shortly thereafter, give or take a month or two, via an ordinance passed by the city council and signed by the mayor. Will there be a portion of the charter? How frequent will these virtual meetings be held? These virtual meetings, this is our first one. We're going to see how this goes, but I think so far it's going well, and see how demand has been great. So we definitely look forward to having, I don't know if we have the next one planned, but I think we're going to definitely have at least one or two more of these before we wrap up all of our work in March. Thank you for that question. I'm going to send this next question to Commissioner Mack. I think this is her committee. Will there be a portion of the charter reform dedicated to police reform and payouts of police liability?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I think this is definitely a topic that we've heard come up in our commission meetings, and is something that we're exploring for our personnel and budget, specifically in the lane of training and personnel, and how do we ensure better accountability and transparency in the city of Los Angeles. So definitely it's going to be talked about in our committee.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sanchez up next. Let's see. Will there be any interaction with the city council members about potential recommendations from the CRC prior to delivery next year of those RACs, i.e., to help CRC have sense where council members might stand on various reform proposals?
The commission meetings are open to everyone. As we have been meeting throughout the city, the members of the city council representing those districts have come in to express some of their particular interest in their areas, respective areas. We are open to hear from anyone. However, this is a process where we encourage everybody to give us their ideas. It is very important that anybody, regardless, we hear from you about what it is that's important to you. So in some instances, we hear from them in their different areas and what's important to them, but it will not definitely influence. This is a process that we're looking at very, very carefully and making sure that we recommend and hear from everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much. To clarify, was the last charter reform 10 years ago? The last full charter reform, there have been amendments to the charter over the years, but the last full charter reform commission process was wrapped up in 1999. So I've got that answered. Let's see. Let's circle to comment, not a Q, RE Commissioner Max. Why are council members not directly responsible to constituents' proposals? Okay, indeed. Okay, that is just a comment. So I'm going to come back, circle back to the next question for Commissioner Murray. If the land swamp requirement is removed, what legal safeguards will be the place to prevent equestrian trails, stables, facilities from permanently being lost?
Well, we're going to be looking at a complete overhaul, perhaps. We're looking for input about the way the city works and how services are delivered, and that includes parks, that includes streetlights, that includes city sidewalks. So we are going to be getting input from the community about how we make our city services more efficient, and from either getting a tetherball in a park to the equestrian trails, how that impacts the neighborhood, how that impacts the infrastructure, how that impacts the deliverance of city services. We're going to be taking a deep dive into that. So that is definitely, and who should make that decision? Even more importantly, should it be the city council? If you live in the valley and you have a horse trail, or you live in San Pedro and you have a ranch, how are your services being delivered differently than somebody who lives in South Central LA or Wilmington, where there are also horse trails? So we're going to be doing a deep dive into that. But thank you for your question.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's see, Commissioner Fuentes, I think this is on your committee. Council members represent over 266,666 people per district. Is there consideration of expanding the number of districts to allow more participation? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was finding my unmute button. Thanks for your question. So you're right, with 15 council members for nearly 4 million residents, each district is closely representing that amount of people. So that ratio is one of the highest in the country, and it does raise real concerns about accessibility and participation. So the idea of expanding the number of districts is on the table, just so you know, and it is being studied by our government structure committee. So no decision has been made yet, but it's a central part of our conversation.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll take this next question. What is the main purpose of virtual meetings? It seems a lot of discussion on specific things will be done at future meetings. I think that is definitely true. A lot of discussion will be done in personal at future meetings. But this is a great way for us to engage people who can't come, especially in person, to those meetings, to hear from commissioners and commissioners to hear from you on what you think is important and directly interact. And have two-way communication, even in person, commission meetings, folks line up, give their comment, next person gives their comment. It's not really as interactive as this is getting an opportunity to be, especially once we get into the breakout room. So looking forward to that. Next one, I think Commissioner Sanchez will be next. If members of the public are not able to attend CRC meetings in person, will they be able to make remote public comment? I'll just answer that, sorry, really quickly. We're working on that. Stay tuned. But this is a great opportunity to make a remote public comment, if you ask me. Let's see, Commissioner, I'm just going to pick the next question for Commissioner Sanchez. Might not be her specific. Let's see. Here we go. How can Charter Reform Commission ensure the neighborhood councils are diverse and inclusive? Many board members are repeat board members, and there isn't much diversity in people and ideas. Thanks.
Thank you. That's a very good question, Justin. We're hearing from various members of the neighborhood councils at our different meetings. The input has been very diverse, from keep it the same, grow it, give us more money, to other particular issues. And we're going to definitely, within the committee meeting for better government, tackle those issues in particular, on how the 99 are functioning at the moment, what improvements we need to make so that they have the purpose that they were built to be 20 years ago with the last reform.
Awesome. Okay, I think we have time for one more quick question. Who have I missed on the commission? Has everyone had a chance or two? Commissioner Murray, I think I'll give you this last one. Will codifying or requiring the city to draft a capital improvement plan, CIP, be discussed as part of the commission's work? LA is uniquely, infamously among the big cities in not having a formal CIP process. I'm aware of ED9, but would strongly suggest having it incorporated into city charter.
Yes, we've actually had presentations from several different groups. Long Beach, we've talked to other other organizations that do have a capital improvement plan. So that's definitely something that is going to be discussed and probably definitely voted on. Please continue to participate in the process. It looks like, I can't make any promises, but it looks like that's something that for some reason the city of Los Angeles hasn't done. That has been a priority of the mayor and other representations from other council members, all who have presented to us have been in agreement that that is something that should happen. So please stay tuned. That is definitely, as Max stated in his presentation, that is going to be on the top of our agenda. And just I'm looking at the comments. I don't know if we're going to be able to be that, but part of what the Government Infrastructure Committee is going to be discussing is who makes those planning decisions. Is it with the city council? Do they have veto power? Is it with the Planning Commission? We're also going to be discussing what's going to happen with the Board of Public Works. Is it an antiquated organization, or are we going to reform that and reconfigure how those city services are put forward? So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you everyone who participated in Q&A. There were some questions that we weren't able to get to, but I think the team is gonna grab those and copy them for us, so we'll be able to post answers later onto our website. So really thank everyone for participating, and there might be opportunity to also get some of those questions answered in our breakout rooms. So just want to wrap up and thank everyone for participating so far. We've still got more to do. We've still got the breakout rooms, which will be explained here in a minute. But just want to really say thank you before we all break out, and some of you won't see me again. On behalf of the commission staff and the commissioners, we really appreciate so many people. This is definitely, excuse me, a better turnout than we were hoping for. So we look forward to hopefully doing this again in the future. So thank you very much for joining, and looking forward to interacting in these breakout rooms. Talk to y'all soon.
Okay, so we are going to move on to the group activity. Chrissy, there's a slide that will show how you folks can all enter your small group. So this is a great opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas on one or hopefully many of the topics that we discussed during the presentation. So just to reiterate the topics, because those 4 topics are how the rooms are broken into. So there are 4 rooms. First one, planning and infrastructure. Topics include capital improvement program, land use decision-making, and infrastructure. We'll have a room for government structure, includes potential city council expansion, balance of authority between mayor, city council, and other electeds, and election and voting. Third room that you can join is better government, removal and discipline of elected officials, ethics and anti-corruption, neighborhood councils and their authority and role. And the fourth room is personnel and budget. So personnel practices, hiring and promotion, multi-year budget planning as a potential, and periodic charter review. So those are the 4 rooms. In just a moment, you'll have the opportunity to select your first room. You can stay there as long as you'd like. You can move to a different room. You can leave the meeting entirely. Your facilitators in the group will go over your options of how to leave the room and how to leave the meeting. But hopefully you stick around for a while. If you have any technical issues or can't get yourself into a breakout room, just stay here and we'll have our tech host help you out and put you into a breakout room. So that being said, you should all see an icon at the bottom of your screen. So we've opened the rooms, or if you're on a tablet or iPhone or Android, it should pop up on your main screen. If you click either join breakout room or breakout room, it should give you the option in those kind of blue circles to join one of the rooms. So if you can do that now, then we will all be joining you in the breakout room.